but I also seem to have somewhere deep back in the recesses of my little mind that one of the problems that H. Ross Perot and General Motors had is he thought they treated their employees really bad.
Absolutely. And they use more cutthroat suppliers, I think, than probably any other car producer in the United States. They buy from more non-union suppliers than any manufacturer here in the United States of cars. Oh, and I read an article about General Motors products, the quality of General Motors products, where we've got strong limit laws in some states.
Working in the government for generations.
What do you mean your people have been working in the government for generations? What do you mean your people?
Well, my family.
Oh.
And
you mean your government, your family have been government freeloaders now for generations?
No, they're not freeloaders, sir.
Oh.
We have earned every penny that we have worked. I worked 16 hours a day and was only paid 8. So I'm not a freeloader.
Well, maybe you got twice as much as you deserved.
No.
So it all worked out even.
Sorry.
Oh.
No. I worked because the work had to be done. It was my country. I wanted to do the work right. We have been, the federal workers have been cut down in force and so forth.
Were there any other medical experiments you volunteered your children for besides the Salk vaccine?
Yes, the fluoridation. They were among the first for the fluoridation of the teeth.
What a mom.
There was something else. I can't remember. There was a third one.
You're pretty generous with other people's lives.
I talked it over with my peers, that is, the heads of my family, and found out that my great-grandfather was an early pioneer in the use of oxygen, and he died from the
too much oxygen.
From using it due to the fact it was impure.
Oxygen will kill you every time.
But you see, this is what I'm saying. I'm appalled that people think that they can misuse the flag. And by the way, the flag can be flown at night if there is a light turned on it. I am so amazed that people are so ignorant. That's all I have to say.
I've heard of the electric flag, but I've never seen an electric flag.
I have. There is a man along Interstate 4 that has a flag out on the edge of his orchard. He also did have a plaque of the Marines raising the flag.
He had a flag of the Marines, yeah.
But I haven't seen that plaque lately. I don't know if they made him take it away or what, but he keeps the flag there 24 hours a day, and at night there's a light on it.
Mm-hmm.
But that is so, and there are so many misconceptions. A flag can be burned if it is burned in a certain container, and after it...
So you're not supposed to burn your flag, I guess, in a plastic trash can?
After it's been torn and so forth. But other than that, the school children are raised not with the idea of not letting the flag touch the ground. And then they turn around...
Wait a second.
Then they turn around and
Wait a second. Isn't this the United States of America?
This is the United States of America.
The greatest soil in the country?
It is not...
Even the Pope kissed the ground when he got here.
You know what? I think you better read up on your history. Good day.
Yeah, Mike, I think you're right. We have finally talked to Southside Johnny's wife. If you have a social six, fingers crossed on that one, 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. And there is another old rule. If the first call doesn't set the tone of the show, then the first letter that you read will. All right, listen up, you lily-livered liberals. You're going to have your views on unionism changed on the spot. Bob Lassiter, the letter writer, starts out, not Dear Bob, but Bob Lassiter. I've just listened to your argument, pro-organized labor, and beg to differ. It is impossible to debate the question with you while you hold the cutoff button, but I must offer my thoughts based on actual experience. I listen to you. I hope you will listen to me. I still hate the unions, especially UAW. During WW2, which I assume means World War II, During WW2, I was drafted and was forced to sell my new Ford V8 for $600 to the highest bidder. I bought it in 1941 for $900 and sold it the same year because many others were in the same bind. Cars were a glut on the market. Soldiers going overseas had to give their cars away. Obviously, you were not caught in this trap since you were not a soldier. So you cannot realize my situation. Lucky you. You were not even born then. When I went to the South Pacific earning $21 per month, UAW workers were draft exempt and making high wages, including overtime, living high on the hog. 4 years later, I came home. I was in the market for a car. UAW boys struck for increased wages commensurate to their overtime wages during wartime. 50,000 UAW workers were out for over 6 months. Obviously, they made no cars. So I could buy no car even though I was once more getting good pay. So for more than 6 months, I and many like me were held at gunpoint by UAW for cars. They got their higher wages and the price of cars went up accordingly. The first car I could locate for any price was a used Jeep, and the man wanted $1,200 for it. This was early 1946. I said, no thanks, took bus. It was several years before I could get a car for any amount of money. I was mad because my good friends at General Motors and other manufacturers chose to strike and demand that I pay them whatever they wanted. They controlled the market. Did they feel sorry for us? Forget it. That is what I got for serving them for 4 years in wartime. The shaft. Do you think they did right by me and my soldier buddies? I don't. Actually, that is what unions are all about. They force non-union people to pay their price for their product. Or they did until Japan got into the act, and now they and you cry salty tears for the poor union workers who killed the goose which laid the golden egg. Management don't take the hint, and non-union person who is your neighbor does. That would be me, and probably you unless you also belong to the union. Yes, sir, I do belong to a union, and as a union member, I get secret discounts at the store. But let me go on with the letter. Let's see, that would be me and probably you unless you belong to the union. Apparently you don't know this, and you think you are smart. You don't even know what's happening. They are picking your pocket. I shall not forget this ripoff by my good friends at the UAW. Good grief, sir, standing there 50 years ago. I don't think you're going to forget it. I shall not forget this ripoff by my good friends at UAW the longest day I live, nor forgive. Were you in my shoes? My friends wore the uniforms. Some gave their lives. What did the UAW boys give? Huh. Signed, Ralph B. Strickland, Sergeant, Corps of Engineers. Served 4 years, Bronze Star Combat Service, 1941 to 45 inclusive. Also a little line down here right at the very bottom of the page. You must have had a very difficult time getting this one on the typewriter for this line. Where were you? Did you ever serve your country? Or join Quail? Quail, something like the Boy Scouts, sir? 990-9352 in Hillsborough. Yes, it is a rare day, a very rare day of open communications. Not open phones, open communications, although you will do that over your phone, of course. We will pass the burden for a successful show off onto you. And considering your first phone call and your first letter, I'd roll some tape. But I'd also like you to look at it this way. It's your chance to program a mighty radio station for at least a handful of minutes at a time. A place where you can have a public forum to raise issues that highly paid talk show hosts fail to introduce, or perhaps even to have considered, maybe even duck to them. It's a place where you can open a can of worms, or add fuel to the fire, or file a grievance, or just plain get it off your chest. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, tens of thousands of your friends and neighbors, tens of thousands of them await your call, anxious to hang on your every word. And none of this, of course, is really true, but we can pretend. This is probably one of the great problems that we have in this life. I mean, look at yourselves. You guys live in an urban disaster. You don't pretend. When was the last time you played in a big cardboard box where they came with a washer or a dryer? Yeah, sat out on the front porch, sitting in the box, having a grand old time. Nah, you guys didn't do that kind of stuff. Nah, you listen to talk radio and you take it seriously.
How did you hear what he said?
Nah, go out and play in a cardboard box. You'll all be a hell of a lot better off for it. When was the last time you guys made yourselves laugh, huh? Unbelievable. Here you live in this urban disaster. You pretend it's paradise. The place gets worse every day. You're caught in a rat race. You're used as bait by someone who could care less about you. They poison your food. They pollute your air. They jerk you around at every opportunity. They lie to you. They cheat to you. They steal from you. And you just sit there staring at the telephone. Unbelievable, but true. I mean, do you realize the guys who hang around boards? What do you guys care? That. So just go to the phones. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yes, did I hear you say right that you believe in burning the flag?
No, sir. I don't believe I've discussed burning the flag.
You were talking about the UAW there a few minutes ago, right?
That one's right, yes, sir.
Okay, well...
And actually, no, I wasn't talking about the UAW. I was reading a letter from somebody. I talked about the UAW several days ago.
Oh.
And actually, not the UAW, just the unions in general.
Well, I thought I just heard you talking about burning the flag and thought it was all right.
No, sir. You must have your nose in your ear.
Well, I don't know who it is, but I'll tell you, the Supreme Court, I think we need to resign a few of them on that basis.
I think we need to resign a few of the Supreme Court on that basis.
Yeah, I'll tell you, anybody burned the flag, there's a guy out in Brandon.
Do you have a mother that makes phone calls to talk radio stations?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a mother? Or was you born on a stump?
No, my mother's dead, sir. She died of cancer several years ago. It was a very, very unpleasant death. Very unpleasant. Off it is now to Tampa. You're on there at 970 WFLA.
Hello.
Hi.
Am I on?
I don't know, sir. Are you?
Okay. I merely want to put in a couple of words about the flag. I deplore the burning of the flag. However, let me give you a situation. My father came to this country. I'm a first-generation American. My father came to this country in sometime after 1907 or 8. 1917, I think, was about as soon as he could get his citizenship. I think it was that year.
Sir, it's only a 3-hour program. Could we speed up a little bit about...
Very quickly, the proudest day of his life was when he brought home an American flag and said, "I am now a citizen." I remember that day. However, I do believe that as a tolerant American, believing in the right to free speech, I don't like this idea of flag burning. But I can't help but accept the Supreme Court situation. The 4-5 decision was an excellent decision. It is, in a way, a matter of expressing freedom of speech, as well as, and I would like to point up something else. I don't agree with you on religion. I think that religion, too, has to be kept out of the public domain. That's an opinion, and I guess I'm entitled to mine as you are yours.
Sir?
Thank you.
Sir, one second before you go.
Go ahead.
I've been in this market for 4 years, and never once have I advocated religion in the public domain, sir. Never once.
Well, you're talking about prayer in the schools.
Sir, I've never advocated prayer in the schools.
Oh, well, I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
That's okay,
My
Mr.
apology, because I think that religion has to be kept out of the public domain. If anybody looks and see what happens in years past in foreign countries where religion was dominated by the state, always other people suffered if they didn't agree.
Sir, do you realize that there are crucifixes and religion is actually taught in communist schools in Poland?
Well, that's their privilege. But this is America. What they do there, we can't control. And we may have an opinion, but they have the right to do things their own way. Unfortunately, the communists have a right to do their own way in China. I don't agree with what they've done. I think it's deplorable, too. I think that the students made a mistake by not stopping when they were ahead. But unfortunately, they've set back democracy in China for 20 years. So we're going to talk about foreign countries. But you said it was I don't want to take too much of your time. Other people want to have their say, too. I do thank you for pointing up the fact that you have not taken a position on religion
No, sir, I beg your pardon. I've taken a very strong position on religion.
On religion in the public schools or prayer in the schools?
Very, very strong position on that.
Well, that's all right, but I say I don't see using it in the schools, in any of the public schools. The private school has their own right.
Sir, I didn't say that I ever did advocate there be religion in the public schools. I said I had taken a very strong position on the issue, and you just...
Now, what is your position, then?
Well, sir, if I've taken a very strong position and it is not in favor of having religion in the schools, what do you think it might be?
Well, that's similar to mine. That means that there would not be prayer in the schools either.
Thank you, Mr. Latella. Rosemarie, son of a gun. Hi there, Rosemarie. How you doing, honey?
Hey, Bob.
Just kind of, flipping up and down the dial today, huh?
No, listen, I had to
Mikey, see, I never listened to your show, lady.
I had to call up about the flag.
Ah.
Because this really upsets me. Because my husband went to Vietnam for that flag, and it really upset me a lot when some idiot can get out there and burn the flag of the United States.
You know, Rosemarie, it seems to me that your husband, if he married you, would also probably be stupid enough to go and risk his life for a piece of cloth. Most of the guys that went over there risked their lives for the ideals that the piece of cloth symbolizes.
No, he went for his country, and he was very proud to go for his country, Bob.
Well, now make up your mind. Did he go for his country, or did he go for a piece of cloth?
No, he went for the flag of the United States, and I think it's totally disgusting. I think this guy that burned the flag, I think he should be burned. You know? I really do. I think it is awful, and I think these judges up there, I think they should be fired from their jobs for passing that, like, and saying that that people like that can burn the United States flag.
Rosemarie?
What, Bob?
Did you say that your husband went and fought for?
He fought twice.
He
flew in Vietnam twice.
May I assume he also fought to defend the Constitution?
He fought. He fought for his country. He fought for his country more than you did, Bob.
So in other words, when he was asked to take an oath to defend and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, he was fibbing when he said, "Yes, I will."
He would be very upset if he saw anybody burning a flag. And when you went on the base and to play the national anthem, you had to stop still in your car. You know, you had to stop still.
Rosemarie, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I am a U.S. citizen. That's why I voted for George Bush and for Ronald Reagan and for...
It's very strange, Rosemarie, that somebody who's a U.S. citizen does not know that you can't fire a U.S. Supreme Court judge.
Yeah, well, I'd like to know how about that, because they're there to serve the people, not to make their own decisions.
No, they're not there to serve the people, Rosemarie. Again, another thing that you apparently didn't learn when you were supposedly studying the Constitution and to get your U.S. citizenship. Did you have somebody take the test for you?
No, I didn't. I took it myself.
And passed?
Yes, I did. What do you think I am, brainless or something? I ain't brainless, Bob. Goodbye, Bob. That's it.
You know, I somehow get the feeling that a duck should come down, a stuffed duck with a $100 bill in its beak, and there should be a little sign on it that said something to the effect of, "You said the secret word."
What do you think I am, Bob? Brainless?
St. Petersburg. Saint, you're on the air at 970 WFLA. What a great show. Hi, Saint.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, how you doing there?
I'm afraid I'm going to follow that one. She's from England, Rosemarie, right?
I don't know where she's from.
Sounds like she is. I'm from Scotland. I'm not a citizen yet, but I'm afraid, take the opposite view here. I believe that this country stands for freedom, and that means you can do what you want on your own property. If I choose to stand on my property and burn any flag or wave any flag I want, and you don't like it, don't look. It's not the flag they went to Vietnam, they went to Korea and fought for. It's exactly what you said, the freedom that symbolizes, and that freedom was to be able to express what you believe. But it has to be on your own property with your property. You can't I can't come onto your property and burn a flag in your face. That's not what.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but you can't come on my property and wave the flag either.
Well,
it's called trespassing. It has nothing whatsoever to do with burning flags.
Okay, I can go there, and I think that's another issue that's not being properly addressed is the private property. That's what the issue is. Too many people think it's an emotional issue. It's not an emotional issue.
Private property? What do you mean?
Well, if it's my flag and I want to do with it as I please, I should be able to. I'm surprised it even got as far as the Supreme Court. Should not have got that far. To waste the highest court
in this country on something that an objective judge in a lower court would have said, if that's his property, ma'am, I'm afraid he can do with it as he pleases.
Well, for one thing, the court's the one that decides what cases they'll hear and which cases they won't hear. And secondly, my recollection is that the flag was burned on public property during a demonstration in 1964, I guess it was.
Yeah, well, 1984. I never gave...
84, yes, excuse me.
I never said anything about that instance. If he wasn't burned on someone else's property, then that's different. I wasn't addressing that actual instance. I was just saying that the actual physical part of burning the flag, if it's your flag, you're doing it on your property, or someone's property, you gave you that right, then that's fine. And I understand people are reasoning with their emotions, and it's an emotional thing with their country. I understand that, but it all comes down to property, I'm afraid.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, whoa.
Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Bob, how you doing?
Hey, great. Getting better by the minute.
Okay. Hey, this is a good show you got going today.
Oh, it certainly is.
Hey, now I used to be a patrol boy in elementary school, and we'd send that flag up that pole, and we'd take it down every day, and we couldn't even let it touch the ground. Now, much less burn it up.
Isn't it funny? This is the ground that red American blood was spilled on.
Really?
And the flag is usually made out of some kind of synthetic material, which is probably made out of imported oil.
Right. Yeah, you know what? But, people are getting all upset about all this stuff. I mean, where were these people at when Jimi Hendrix played the Star-Spangled Banner? You ever heard that?
Well, I would imagine they were running for cover for their ears like I do every time I hear it.
Well, I don't know. I don't care too much for the idea of letting them do that. But, I just want to pass the point.
Letting Jimi Hendrix play the Star-Spangled Banner? I'll agree with you on that one.
Well, you ought to play it one time for all these patriotic people out here that, that are worried about it. I mean, there's some concern. Like I said, you shouldn't let it touch the ground. But if it gets old and it's dead, it's dead. You know what I mean? Let it go. It's a piece of material. Something that we stand behind, though.
Well, some of us wrap ourselves in it. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Well, that's about all I got to say, babe.
Okay.
See ya.
990-9352 in Hillsboro. 461-9352 in Pinellas. An open afternoon, that's for sure. Maybe, in addition to this burning flag issue, so to speak, perhaps you would also like to touch upon the gross injustice done to those in this community today by the city of St. Petersburg, callously, viciously, with malice, of the so-called city fathers in the burg of St. Petersburg ruled out rodeos at the Florida Suncoast Dome. I, for one, wish to protest, and you may too. 990, you know the numbers. I don't give a bother with that. Seminole, hi, Sam. You're on there at 970 WFLA.
Yes, I would like to ask you if you feel that you have any integrity left with your audience after pushing Dr. Sobel's program for 7 months and then being caught on the air with a cigarette.
No, I wasn't caught on the air with a cigarette, sir.
That's what I heard.
Well, you mean you're going to call up with secondhand information?
No, I heard it from that lawyer.
Oh, from the lawyer.
Yes.
Oh, the one that uses the phony name?
Oscar?
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yes, I heard that one. But how do you feel that you have any integrity left when you were pushing Dr. Sobel's program, and for 7 months you said you were a non-smoker, and now we know you're a smoker?
No, sir, I've always been a smoker.
Well, yes, sir, but you said
I always
you quit.
will be a smoker, sir.
You said you quit.
I've quit several times, yes.
Well, yes, sir, but you were obviously advertising a program, and...
Yes, a good program, sir, one that works.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you feel that we could have any faith in what you say now when you said that you had quit?
Well, sir, you bring up a very, very interesting point, and I'm really delighted that you give me an opportunity to answer it.
Good.
The world's going to hell in a handbasket, and the only thing that you're concerned about is whether or not I have integrity because I fell off the wagon with my anti-smoking program. Sir...
You have the power of the airwaves.
Sir, excuse me, sir. You're right, sir. In your eyes, I have lost all credibility, but, sir, your eyes just don't matter. Just Pinellas County until it's cleared, or Gary McHenry suggests that you bang a Huey, head on out to Orlando, swing up to Jacksonville, drop down over to Tallahassee, take US 19 down into Pinellas County. That's what we would recommend here. Palm Harbor. Hi, Palm. You're on there at 970 WFLA.
Bob, I don't know how to tell you this, but, well, you see, you're a dick.
No, I'm a Bob. The last guy that did the shift, he was a dick. Clearwater, you're on there at 970 WFLA.
Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, great.
Hey, listen, the thing about the rodeo...
By the way, that was 18 minutes the last caller waited. Yes, the rodeo.
the last guy was pretty verbal.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Probably had something in his mouth, and we caught him with it.
He was mumbling what it was in.
Didn't get a chance to swallow.
He mumbled what was in there. Listen, the thing about the rodeo, can you explain to me real quick what the reasoning was behind that decision?
Well, yes, I certainly can. The city fathers in the city of St. Petersburg do not think that rodeos are appropriate.
Well, I mean, that was the only explanation they gave? I don't understand their reasoning behind it.
Rodeos have been outlawed in the city of St. Petersburg, my informants tell me, for quite some time. It's not just the Sundome.
Well, what I think is, are they worried about the class of people, or are they after the good old country boys?
I think they are worried about the class of people, that perhaps it would, perhaps it would draw the class of people up.
Well,
hang around.
It sure couldn't hurt. I mean, the city fathers, as they call themselves, right? What makes them the city fathers? Are they like, have they fathered quite a few people in the city, or what?
I doubt it, not recently.
I wouldn't call them my city fathers.
Well, I wouldn't call it, well, it's not my city.
Legislators maybe, but not city fathers. I don't understand where the reasoning is. If they're afraid of the class of people, then, they ought to, check in their back doors before they start talking about that. I mean, myself...
Perchance it's the bull droppings they were concerned about, reminding people of...
Then they ought to clean up their own mess first.
Well,
if they could clean up their own mess, then they could worry about somebody else's droppings.
Well, perhaps there aren't enough people to clean up. I don't know what the problem is with the rodeo. All I know is... Bye. Rodeos are not befitting, unfortunately, the city of St. Petersburg. St. Pete, again. Hi, St. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Good afternoon, Bob.
Afternoon.
Listen, this country is really pussyfooting around with China. Did you happen to catch in the news last night they were talking to James Baker, and they were asking him more questions about China? And his response after answering, I think, one question was, well, we're very late for lunch and we have to go now. And Bush is stating about these executions of the students as just, very regrettable. What kind of stance is this? This is just so wimpish.
No, sir, it's not wimpish. It's typical.
Yes, that would be more appropriate, I guess.
When what is supposedly the leader of the free world shows his outrage and indignation at shooting down perhaps thousands of people in the streets who are asking for nothing more than a more democratic communist party.
When
his response was that he's not going to have high-level talks or may consider raising interest rates to the Chinese on their loans as to show his indignation. What do you want, man?
I mean, it's not even a slap on the wrist. It's not even a slap on the wrist.
No, it's not.
It's a slap in our face.
No, it's not a slap in your face, because I think you're probably the first person I've heard call up talk radio and complain about it.
I think it's terrible.
Well, I'm sure that you do, but I'm pointing out to you that most people don't.
Oh, that's
these people that pay this lip service to democracy and freedom and bull. They're not interested in democracy and freedom. They're interested in lining their own pockets. They couldn't care less about anybody else.
And then they're crying about the flag being burnt, which I don't agree about. But yet, the flag stands for democracy and all this country, what it was so great about. And then these thousands of people got killed in China for just a tiny smidgen of what we take granted of.
Well, is it not also amusing and amazing that some of the people talking about what they would love to do to people in this country who burned the flag, in essence, what they'd like to do is kind of the same things that the Chinese government did to their people.
Right. And it's really sad. And the Chinese government said, well, no one really died. And then, of course, our government's going to believe that because it's the Chinese government official results. No one died. Well, sure, okay, fine, no one died. Okay, we believe you, that's okay. Well, everything, kiss, kiss, everything's all better. That is really disgusting. And I'm really tired of this government just turning the other way just because the other government of the foreign country said, well, it didn't happen, or no, or yes.
No, it's not right. I beg your pardon. The U.S. government has not given any credence whatsoever to the Chinese assertion that it didn't happen. The U.S. government has simply said that while they regret it very much, the trade and business relations are more important, and they've said so literally.
So they're just hoping that it's going to die down, and in a few months, everything will be back to normal. They'll slowly slip things back. All the trade will be back the way it was without the people ever knowing.
Right. Exactly.
And that's terrible. I've contacted my congressman and such, stating I want sanctions against the Chinese government. I want war.
Don't waste your time with, writing your congressman and wasting your stamps, that kind of stuff. If you want to talk to somebody, talk to your neighbor about it.
Yep, it always starts with just two people talking, and, they tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and soon these bozos aren't in government anymore.
I thank you very much.
Good day.
Take care. Tampa, you're on there at 970 WFLA.
Hello, Bob.
Hi.
Hey, I'd like to make two little comments, if I might. Your program yesterday on the abortion issue, I found to be one of the best ones you've ever done. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I just thought that was very informative and very well done. And I would like to take my hat off to both you and Sam. I thought you did the city a service.
Okay, thank you.
Now, my other comment, if I may.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I think it'll pay Michael a little bit more money. He's got to have been standing out in that hot sun too long over the...
Richard, President Bush is... As we normally say when we do an open pipe program, the first call or two usually sets the tone for the hour. Please don't let the first call or two keep you from calling in. St. Petersburg, St. Petersburg, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah.
I think people who burn the flag basically, at that point, give up any right to be heard. And what I mean by that is the way I feel about it, is anyone who burns the flag, their point is no longer important. And if people would start to do that, then...
Well, I'd say that people that don't quite understand what this country is about, people that don't quite understand the guarantees of the Bill of Rights, so forth and so on, their points aren't important, and there's no sense in listening to them. St. Petersburg, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Bob.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I hug your neck. Do you remember Malcolm Baldrige?
I didn't know him personally.
Do you remember him? He was like the department, the head of the Department of Health and Education and Welfare.
Yeah,
in the late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him on a talk show early Sunday morning, one of those talk shows, and he said that without affirmative action, blacks would not have a Chinaman's chance. Wasn't that funny?
I guess if he really said it, yeah.
Well, he did.
Okay.
That was... Anyway, it seems to me that's kind of an aside.
Good.
I would like to see us do something about the kids in the country, and we could do it for the cost of a B-1 bomber.
What would you like to do for the kids in the country?
Make have every kid in the country have a parent.
You think you can buy parents?
No, I think we can make it less difficult to adopt.
It's not that difficult to adopt, sir.
But it costs money.
Not that much.
It costs big bucks.
No, sir. It only costs big bucks basically if you're going through a private adoption agency looking for a blue-eyed blonde. If you'd like, just whatever is available, it costs very little money. Very little money at all.
If we had some moral leadership from the top, it would be easy to adopt.
Sir, it is easy to adopt.
It is. Oh, you think it is?
Yes, sir, unless you have a very long laundry list of things that you want in your kids.
Well,
like a certain age, a certain skin type, certain color of hair, color of eyes,
if it costs
sex,
if it costs $3,000 for me to adopt a kid, and that's what it would cost.
Sir, you can call at the Department of Health and Rehabilitative Services this afternoon. And if you meet their qualifications, which really aren't that terribly high, they'll get your kid in no time at all, maybe even before the day's over.
No, bull. No. Bob, come on. No, that's not true.
Well, sir, did you want to take care of a kid and help him grow up?
I would love to.
Well,
I
sir,
would love to.
Sir, did you want ownership papers? Because if there's a kid, if you want to take care of a kid and help him grow up and give him love, and help and understanding and things of that nature, get in touch with the Department of HRS. They will come and screen you and give you a kit in no time at all, sir. If we'll give you 4 or 5 of them, actually, if you can handle them.
There are plenty of kids in this country, no doubt. If I want one that has multiple handicaps, that is from a cook mother.
Oh, I see, sir. It's not a kid that you want to give love and understanding to, especially the kids that need it the most. I see. Sir, by the way, I think I can save you a little bit of trouble here on that Department of Health and Rehabilitation Services.
Kiss me off. Okay.
No, sir, I'm not going to kiss you off. I don't kiss people who are drunk, and I don't think they give kiss to people who drink either. After the hour, 4 o'clock, a Thursday, June 22nd, 1989. Well, while it's theoretically an open program, the flag burning issue flared up again. Basically, what people seem to be saying is that those people who burn the flag should have their mouths stuffed with feces, their eyes gouged out, their noses ripped from their faces, shoved in their left ear. They should be silenced, shipped to Russia, and lose all of their citizenship privileges. Well, I'll give out the phone numbers first. It is an open program. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. Palm Harbor. Hi, Palm. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm glad I waited, Bob. First off, I hope you get a better time slot scheduled somehow here near in the future here for time for your
My
program.
goodness, so do I.
Yeah. I'm calling from Palm Harbor, and I want to I'm embarrassed to call from Palm Harbor. I was ready to say Ozona because of some of the calls you get from up here, but I'll try to be a little bit more rational if I can. I just heard the president, I think, on the news. I don't know if you could hear the news, but he just gave a little speech concerning the flag and how horrible it is to burn it and all that, and of course the people went wild. I'm going to try not to be upset, but it is upsetting, and I know we're all blowing off steam on this, but it's like, to me, it's a reaffirmation of the First Amendment, and that, to me, is we should be applauding. I personally, of course it's horrible to burn the flag. It's horrible to have to get an abortion. You know, these things happen, and it's all tied in together.
Well,
in China, the people die for it. In Nazi Germany, they would die for burning the flag, right?
What most people seem to lose sight of is the fact that we are strong enough, that we are secure enough, that we are great enough, that while it is so regrettable that some people might desecrate the flag, this country is so great, so strong, so wonderful, it can tolerate it.
Yeah,
that's the joy and wonder of it.
Yeah, to me personally, when I see the white robes and the Confederate flag of the KKK marching down the street, I find that repulsive. I find the Aryan Nation repulsive. I find Praise the Lord plates on Mercedes-Benz going down the road. I find that repulsive to me, but that's all the First Amendment. These people have the right to show their point of view and to express it, and all the burning of the flag is, like you say, it's a piece of cloth. Okay, fine, it does go beyond to a lot of people, and I didn't serve in Vietnam, so I don't know that horrible aspect of it.
We see every single day in this country, somewhere today, the ideals that flag stands for are falling short for some individual in this country. It is one of the unfortunate things about this country and any other.
Well, I think it's happening with
I never hear these yahoos who went to fight in the Great War of WW9 or whatever it might be. I never hear them calling up with tears in their eyes because the ideals that flag stands for didn't stand up today for somebody.
They haven't stood up in China.
No, I'm talking about right here in the good old USA. There's someplace today somebody got beat up by a cop. Someplace today somebody got screwed in a court system. Somewhere today somebody was discriminated against. And when I hear these yahoos calling up and crying about the ideals that flag stands for being desecrated, then I'll have a great deal of sympathy for them when they talk about the symbol.
Okay, well, if I could, one more thing on China. To me, there's 3 reasons why we continue with this charade of trying to say how upset we are, but continuing practically business as usual, really. We got the listening post up there near the Russian border. We need it. And, you know, when it comes to, hey, we always need the Russians. You know, like Steinbeck said, everybody needs their Russians. You know, we need to have this thing with, as long as they can be maggots, but there are maggots, right? These guys that are in power over there, There are maggots, and they have this little listening post that they let us have up there by the Russian border. To me, that's the number one reason why we continue with business as usual. Second, these are George's buddies that he is like over 15 years has laid the groundworks for this buddy system we have with that power regime over there, and he can't turn his back on that, on his own legacy, kind of like the Bush legacy. And third, I think his buddies or his constituency who have invested $14 billion over there in private enterprise, he can't turn his back on them.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. There might be another way of looking at it, too.
And that is... there by Russia is...
Excuse me, I could have sworn I was in the middle of his sentence. It's like third or fourth time you've done it to me.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't even feel like the hell without. Who cares? Vanilla Spark, you're on there at 970 WFLA.
Yes, Robert, I'd like to present a scenario with you. You know, you
said he wasn't going to be like the other people from Palm Harbor who call.
You condemn China for their actions and so forth.
Yep, I do. That's true.
Okay, if
don't
you were...
sir?
Excuse me?
Don't you?
Well, I don't approve of what they did, but if I was in their situation, I'm not sure, and that's what I want to ask you. If you were president of the United States, and I got together 3,000 students, and we went up to Washington, and we took over an area down the block from the Capitol, and we wanted communism in this country, and you left us alone for a couple weeks.
Sir, there's one minor little thing that you're forgetting.
What?
They were asking for a more democratic, communistic program. They were not asking for capitalism.
All right. Well, I want a more communistic democracy. Okay. I want. I get together all the people who don't have a place to live, that can't put food on their table, all the poor people. All of a sudden, I have 100,000 people there. And what kind of actions are you going to take, Bob? Are you just going to let this keep boiling and flourishing, or are you going to put a stop to it? These students were there for...
Sir, since you asked me a question...
okay.
First of all, I wouldn't be running a repressive government to start with. And so, therefore, I wouldn't have any great problem of these millions of... I guess you're saying troublemakers, unemployed troublemakers?
No, I didn't call them troublemakers.
Well, that's kind of what the implication was. That's why I wanted to double check.
No, that they're repressed by the...
Like I said, that's why I wanted to double check to make sure I didn't have that incorrect. But like I said, I wouldn't be running a repressive government to start with, so I wouldn't have to worry about people showing up in the square that I'd have to mow down with my tanks, unarmed people.
Well, who intervened when the students in California were killed?
Sir, you are a registered Republican, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
That's what I thought.
Who intervened when the students in California were killed, or when the blacks were being massacred in this country? What countries intervened?
Which students in California did you have in mind, sir? Are you talking about the ones in Ohio?
No, in Berkeley.
Oh, in Berkeley. Okay.
Okay. When the blacks were being massacred in this country, who intervened?
The blacks were being massacred in this country, sir?
Yeah. Remember the riots, sir, when they were being blown away in the streets? You don't recall that?
No, sir. I have no recollection whatsoever of riots in this country where people were being blown away in the streets.
Oh, no?
No. No, I don't.
Buildings being burned, Mr. Lassiter. You don't recall those incidents, or the Civil War? Who intervened in our internal troubles?
Civil War.
And who intervened in our internal troubles, Mr. Lassiter?
I don't know. Why don't you refresh my memory?
Nobody. And China's been a country that's been on its own for a long time, and if they want to keep it the way it is, that's their business, and we have no right to get involved.
That's right, sir. It is their business. You're absolutely, positively correct. I couldn't agree with you more. But, sir, I get really, really disturbed when my government continues to do business with a bunch of sons of bitches. But apparently that doesn't bother you, because you, sir, would have done the very same thing that Deng Xiaoping and his crowd did, because you, sir, would be running a repressive government, I assume?
Well, if I was in that...
What are you stuttering for,
If I was in that situation, that's what I would have done. Yes, Mr. Lassiter, I agree.
Right.
If I was in that situation, that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Because when you let that go for that long time...
You got a hell of a lot more in common with Deng Xiaoping, sir, than you do with the people who are in Tiananmen Square. A hell of a lot more in common with him.
No, I could see them fighting...
You're a frustrated dictator, sir, aren't you?
No, I'm not, Mr. Lassiter.
Stamp on the little ant.
No, Mr. Lassiter. You understand, he's in power there, and if he let this progress, we would have gotten involved if the students started to make more progress.
Sir, I know that Deng Xiaoping is in power there, but what I find absolutely disgusting, and you apparently can't, is that we should have nothing to do with a murdering son of a bitch.
What would happen if I came down and took over your radio station and just started spreading my own ideas and took it over? Well, would people come in to get me out of there, and if I refused to get out?
I suggest you send a tape and resume to Bob Schumann, care of WFLA, and you may be able to find out. Well, here's probably one of the worst traffic reporters in the entire industry. On top of that, a man who doesn't pay his bills, is not very nice, kicks his dog, and has 428 parking tickets high up in a plane somewhere atop a billboard. Gary McHenry with an airborne traffic report.
Thank you, Bob. Traffic on the Howard Franklin Bridge westbound still very heavily slowed. We could...
The time, are we having fun? I'll say we are, but we don't have too much more time to have fun here. Only 2 minutes till we stop at. Luce, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
I think this boils down to what is your definition of desecrating the American flag? And burning it is desecration, obviously. But I'm wondering whether having the American flag fly on the same staff as the rebel flag or the stars and bars. And you see that every day in Tampa, where you find the American flag and then you find the city flag of Tampa, which has the stars and bars on it.
Mm-hmm.
A whole philosophy of trying to destroy the American flag. I'm wondering whether or not that's not desecration. I'm wondering whether or not it's not desecrating the American flag to have the hooded KKK carrying it in their rallies. It all depends on where you draw the line. And I was listening to Ted Webb on the way back from Lakeland, and some man from Uruguay or who had been adopted talked about how when he was in other countries, people would stop him and wonder how great America was and how the freedoms were and how great it was to live here and how they have 7 p.m. curfews in Nicaragua, etc. And he said that we had gone over the line when we allowed the flag to be burned. But I think that there's many Americans, we all say we love our freedom. We really love America. But let's adopt totalitarian methods to preserve our freedom. And that's what I'm hearing out there.
Well, I think you're hearing it because the people, for the most part, who have been speaking have not sat down and really stopped to think about this issue. It's a very emotional issue. It's an easy one to have an opinion on. Isn't it amazing the things that genuinely matter in this life? We never hear these callers, only when it's things like, should you force people to say the Pledge of Allegiance? Huh?
Well, I would find it offensive to use the American flag maybe to sell Chevrolets.
Yeah, I would too.
And I would find it maybe being offensive to find the American flag on patches on jeans and pants and on bumpers of cars and on the back of dump trucks.
Yeah, I would too.
And yes, it all depends on where you draw the line.
But you see, I find it just as offensive as I find burning the American flag in a political demonstration.
Well, I find it offensive.
All things offend me.
I find it offensive, but I'm going to tell you the most difficult thing in the world to handle is freedom. Because with freedom comes responsibility, and with freedom comes choice.
And one of the sad things that we've been hearing for the last couple of days in this country is that there are an awful lot of people who say that they want freedom but don't want the responsibility that goes with it. My friend, I'm up against a break. I thank you very much. I appreciate the call, 990-9352, brief as it may have been. 461-9352 in the other place. Here, Sophie has finally started to pay her own way. Sophie has been hired to tell you about Pro Energy dog food. Unfortunately, Sophie is not able to do so, doesn't belong to the union. We're having a great deal of trouble with that. So I have been asked to kind of step in. You see, Sophie, for most of her life, had been fed whatever we could find on the grocery shelf, and more often than not, we paid more attention to the price of it than anything else, like most people do. And every now and then we would change Sophie's food, and in 3 or 4 or 5 days, when she got hungry enough, she'd start eating this stuff. And if she didn't, then we'd start mixing with table scraps, and we noticed that Sophie was getting overweight. We noticed that Sophie was having some skin problems. And then along came Pro Energy. Pro Energy, it's a highly digestible, palatable, premium dog food that's designed for people like you and me, pet owners who prefer to feed a dog food that contains no soybean meal, and a dog food that has all of the nutrients that you want your dog to have. Something that tastes good, and it does. Something that Sophie likes. Something that has helped her cut down on her weight. Something that has taken care of her skin and her coat so that she doesn't sit around scratching all day anymore. Pro Energy. Where can you get it? Pro Energy is available not everywhere, but if you're interested in your dog, pay attention, please. You can get Pro Energy at the Feed Depot in Hudson. That's located at 10232 State Road 52. You can get it at the Feed Depot in Brandon at 110 South Lakewood Drive, or you can get Pro Energy at the Feed Depot in Valrico, 1604 State Road 60 East in Valrico. Back to the phones we go. Pasadena, hi, Pasadena, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yeah, Bob?
Yeah.
I think anyone that burns the flag is a goddamn faggot.
Oh. Hey, did you hear that, Mikey? What?
34 minutes on hold.
34 minutes for that. Sir, people that burn flags, it really has nothing whatsoever to do with their sexual orientation, but somebody like you who sits around thinking about faggots all day, I guess would think that it might. St. Petersburg, Saint, you're on there at 970 WFLA. Have we taken you from something, sir?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, yes.
You didn't say hi. You didn't say hi, St. Pete.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, well, that's probably because we took you away from something.
No, it was cut off. It's the phone. Hi.
Hi.
I think it's axiomatic. I mean, are we going to be demagogues, or are we going to deal with problems?
Oh, I don't know, sir. I'd prefer to deal with the problem. How about you?
I am not a demagogue.
Well, either am I, sir. I'm a registered Republican.
Saving Sam is a demagogue. I mean,
no, sir. He's a registered Republican, too.
I'm sorry?
He's another registered Republican.
You can either deal with the problems, or we can let them pile up, and we can deal with the symptoms. I mean, it's simple.
What's simple, sir?
We're either in this together, and we can deal with the problems.
Sir, are you reading from a book of cliches?
No.
Oh, okay. Don Richards, who is not reading from a book of cliches either, standing by at the WFLA News. Don? Sir? Didn't have to wait 30 or 40 minutes. All these things going on. I mean, baseball heroes are accused of betting on baseball, and zealots who can't scare the hell out of people from the pulpit are trying to mess up with your life, and 1,500 people are living on the streets in Tampa, and kids are still shooting each other, and MTV is still on the air, and you Culver House wants you to feel sorry for him because you don't earn enough money to pay his outrageous ticket prices. They printed Vinny's address in the newspaper this morning, and I pulled a 7-0 and 25-54 in the trends, and nobody's bothered to mention it. And now you guys tell me that you don't know what you want to talk about? 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. Most people who have called in today wanted to discuss the burning issue of the flag. There were others that had an opinion on China one way or the other, and there, of course, is the issue bubbling just under the surface on the rodeo in the St. Petersburg Suncoast Dome. Lutz, you're on there at 970 WFLA.
Hello, Bob.
Yes, Lutz.
Be gentle. I'm a virgin. I never called it a radio talk show.
Then, sir, perhaps I should pawn you off to Gary McHenry so that you'd have something in common with him.
I haven't heard anybody today recite that stirring quote that I may not agree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. I think that speaks to the issue of the flag, and that the flag symbolizes our values. It's just a symbol, and our First Amendment is free speech. And I'm really concerned with the kind of people who are calling in who are willing to kill people over a symbol.
Well, sir, you see, that's the whole point. Nah, they're not willing to kill anybody over a symbol. They're a bunch of blowhards. They're blowhards when they talk about killing people over the symbol, and they're blowhards when they talk about just how much the symbol really means. They're just talking.
Yes, I don't think they've given it much thought to that we are a great country. We can tolerate a wide range of beliefs. He never really hurt anybody when he burnt the flag. He just offended some sensitivities, and that's what he was out to do. So I guess in that way he succeeded. My other comment I wanted to make is I was in China last fall, and I only touched that one hair on the elephant. I'm no expert on China. But when I was there, I really felt the people liked Americans and were very interested in our ideals and ideas. And I just find Bush's wishy-washy stance reprehensible. He's supposed to be the leader of the free world, and it looks like he's covering his brother's investment in that golf course in Shanghai more than standing up for American
Well, I doubt
values.
very much that it's his brother's investment in Shanghai that's on his mind. It's just an attitude very prevalent throughout the world, not just in this country today, where business is a hell of a lot more important than people. George and his kind have much more in common with the leadership in China than they do with the people in China. That's all it boils down to.
I think that's profound, and I appreciate the time you've given me. I really have no more to say.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Whoops, shut myself off and left him on. 990-9352 in Hillsborough. What's that, Michael? I didn't
No,
hear.
you've done that twice today.
Yes, I have. My mind's just not here today. It's somewhere else. 990-9352 in Hillsborough. It's in Disney World. By the way, I forgot to tell you guys this. Nobody else is going to if I don't. I will be doing a show Saturday night from Paradise Island in Disney World. And it's kind of touching. I've not done a nighttime show with you guys for a long time. It's, we always used to talk about the good old days at the other station, PLP. And strange thing is, we only did half of our sentence at PLP at night, but that's basically what people remember. So 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock this coming Saturday, not at PLP, actually right here at FLA, 970 WFLA. That's News Radio 970 WFLA. But actually, I won't be here. I will be in Disney World. It will just sound like I'm here, and we would be very appreciative. I've got 5 tickets, too, 5 pair of tickets to give away to that I'd totally forgotten about. The first... Can we work in 5 callers in the last hour? Well, if we can. First 5 callers in the last hour.